Hello and welcome everybody to our second viewer submitted gameplay review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Master Crafty while he plays some Mercy for us. Looks like we're going to be playing on Hollywood today. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the lineup so far. Looks like we've got a fairly standard lineup here, nothing out of the ordinary. The Sombra, I guess, is a little bit of an off-meta pick, but that's not a big deal. There are some very good Sombras out there. Okay, let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit and get into the gameplay. Okay, we always want to be healing right out the door right away. Because of damage like that, like your Sombra just took from the Symmetra turrets. There could be a Junkrat, there could be a Pharah spamming the door, whatever it is, just make sure that you're healing right away and then damage boost when you know nobody's in immediate danger. Whoop, watch out for the Symmetra over there. Okay, I like how much movement you're doing right here. That's really good. You're trying to stay with your tanks, which I do like. Okay, poor Roadhog's taking so much damage. Always moving is going to make you a lot less of a target, so I really do enjoy the movement that you have here. I can't tell, but it looks like... Do you have your settings for your beam set to toggle beam connection? Because it almost looks like you don't. If you don't, if I'm wrong, if you don't, I would highly recommend that you do that. I don't necessarily think that you needed that res. You probably could have saved it. They really weren't pushing you too terribly hard right there. It definitely guaranteed the point. But I probably would have saved my res right there, because we were about to have it. They would have had close respawns, and it would have been okay.
Where does it hurt?
Oops, get out! That happens. I can't tell you how many times I have jumped to try to save someone and they die instantly and then you're dead. Right there, it just looked like your positioning was a little off. Try to think about kind of keeping an L from your team a lot of the times. And on this map in particular, there's not a ton of cover. So you're going to want to really think about where your enemy's more likely to come from, where a better place for you to be is. Always try to stay a little bit offline. This room is nice, but you can get easily flanked. Really easily flanked, which you're getting flanked right now. Watch out. Wasn't really a good option for you. Sometimes when there's the entire team behind you like that, what I'll do is I'll fly past my Reinhardt and get out in front of him, just to get away from some of the damage. Sometimes the safest place is actually in front of your tank, and need to be calling out that there are those flankers behind you. Back up, there's nobody there. Okay, you just fall back. Where's the rest of our team? They're over there. Yeah, okay. I would have just fallen back right there. I wouldn't have rezzed that, because our tanks are still... They hadn't even made it back to the point yet. And I would have just saved that res. Watch out for the hog.
I must go where I'm needed.
Trying to think of what I would have wanted you to do there. I think I would have had you stay a little bit farther back and try to use the hay bales as cover. A lot of the times if you just kind of strafe back and forth behind an object like the hay bales or something, you can bait that Roadhog hook out, and then it would have been safer for you to go get behind your Reinhardt. heals. tuck off to the left here. Behind those hay bales is a really good spot to be because then you're not directly in line of sight of the door where everybody's coming out of. Okay, so we've got our Ryan and our Lucio down. That would be worth rezzing. That's an extra healer and your main tank. I would have gone in and rezzed that immediately and not tried to wait for maybe, I don't know if you're trying to wait for that McCree to die or if you're waiting for the soldier. But tank healer is more important than the 2 DPS in that situation because Lucio could have helped keep the other 2 DPS up alive a little longer and your tank could have blocked any damage that would have been coming in. And you guys might have won that fight a little bit easier. It worked out for you, but keep that in mind in the future. Always be thinking about prioritizing your res targets. Tanks and healers are a pretty big priority. I would have actually stretched out to catch that hog there and try to get some heals on him. There's your Reinhardt. There he is. Okay, if your Reinhardt's blocking up like that, take a look up and see what he's trying to block. Because it might save you from getting shot by a soldier that might be above you. I don't know if you guys are using voice chat here or not. I don't see any of the names popping up in the left-hand corner, and I can't hear any. So if you're not using voice, that's something I would highly, highly recommend that you start doing, especially as a Mercy player. It's so very important. Roadhog, I hate that. We might have been able to hear him, but I'm not sure. I probably would have been looping back to try to loop towards the left-hand side instead of staying underneath that, probably back around that rock. Just a little bit better positioning there. That was very, very risky. You were very lucky they did not kill you. Keep healing the road so you can get your ult. Okay, shoot, shoot, shoot. Okay, you, as soon as he died, you should have had your gun out and just backed up a little bit and been firing, because you could have gotten your ult off of that Roadhog pretty quickly. Now, I know there was a Tracer on you, but I think that you could have probably gotten res off of that Roadhog before she killed you. Just be a little quicker on switching out to your gun there. But you do have res now for the last push. Hopefully last push. You did not pick up one of your tanks. That would have actually been worth trying to fly out there and res to pick up that third tank. Otherwise, I would have just held the res and reset you guys. Yeah, actually your timer was really close to being out. So yeah, I would have tried to fly out there and pick up that third person. Just because it was so close to the end of it. Overall, not too bad though. It just looks like you're mostly unsure about your positioning and where to be, which is kind of the biggest thing that I'm noticing. That's just going to take some practice and getting used to where you need to be on each map. So each map has very specific kind of areas that are good for Mercy, that are good where she can tuck away, where she's out of line of sight, things like that. So really be thinking about that no matter what map you're playing. Think about, okay, where's the enemy team coming from? What angles are they most likely to flank me at? And where can I be so that I still have line of sight on the majority of my team, so I have escape options and that I can get the most healing done, but also am kind of out of sight and out of mind of the enemy. So it really requires you to put a lot of thought into where you need to be and prioritizing healing targets. So if your Reinhardt is on the front line and he's always taking a ton of damage and you're the main healer, then you need to be positioning kind of a touch more forward, so that way you can support him, but you've still got to find that balance of being out of line of sight, so that way you're not going to get hooked, you're not going to get flanked too easily, things like that. Okay. Alright, our defense comp is pretty standard. Damage boost the fire strike. It'll just give him a bit. Oh, get in there and heal Roadhog. What are you doing, Hog? Damage boosting the fire strike in the beginning just gives your Reinhardt that little bit more charge towards his ultimate, which is very important. Your Hog is so far out of position, it's not even funny. There you go, heal Soldier. I don't know what he was doing out there. Your Hog really should have been using the Reinhardt shield. I mean, your Reinhardt probably could have stepped out by Rein. Your Reinhardt probably should have stepped up a little bit and tried to protect him, but your Reinhardt was in a good position. Your Roadhog was just getting a little bit too greedy trying to get those hooks. Oh, you had 2 health there. It's so scary. Okay. Right here is where I would have taken the extra time that it took to just walk around the back. There was a lot of stuff going on out in front of you, and you're really close to res, so staying alive, you would have had res by now if you were still alive, and you could probably pick up those 2 people. I would have honestly walked out this back and just gone around and tried to get to somebody through the door that you're going in right now. Oh, Reinhardt. Don't swing. Oh, he's lucky that Roadhog didn't shoot him. Okay, the call needs to be made to back up right here. Don't. What's there? Okay. Unless you guys have picks and your team is just already doing just a phenomenal job in smoking them, or it's overtime, I would not res at the enemy spawn. You guys are just a little bit staggered now. Your Hog is going to get picked if he's not careful. Of course, he's running away from where you can heal him. So that's where having a mic would be amazing, and the call to just back off would be good. Probably didn't need tank here. Whoop. That room is a death trap for Mercies. Do not think you are ever safe in that room. I cannot tell you how many times I have gotten flanked by a Hog or something else in that room. Oh, and you guys lost a player. Oh, that sucks. Oh, Roadhog, why? That poor Roadhog, he's trying so hard, but his positioning is getting him killed so much. It's really hard for you to support him when he's like that. There needs to be a call that there's a Zarya in your back over here. I am totally fine with that solo res. You guys are already down a player. Unless you know there's a ton of incoming ultimates, you should be thinking about solo resing most of the time right now. Just to try to keep your numbers a little bit more even. And then definitely solo resing if you have a pick. Like, that's, if you have res and you guys got a pick and they got one of you, res it, because then at least you're gonna have a little bit of an advantage. Get out of there. Ah. There is a Zarya chasing you. Your team has got to get more on the payload. Where's your Reinhardt? He's gotten a couple kills. Where is he? How did we lose the Reinhardt? Oh, Roadhog, get out of there.
Experience tranquility.
Trancing the whole point. During trance, if it's just you and Zen and you're standing in the middle of trance, just pull your gun out and shoot something. It'll be alright. You'll be less likely. You're not really gonna take damage or get killed or anything like that. So it's worth it if it's just the two of you, because as soon as the trance is gone, you're probably screwed anyway. Unless of course you get hooked out of it, which is what happened. Rhine keeps charging into oblivion. Oh, Reinhardt's. Reinhardt's that do that just... They stress me out so bad. Because you want to support them, and yet you have res, and you don't want to be an idiot and dive into the middle of the enemy team. Your Reinhardt just saved you there. Okay, Reinhardt. There's the Roadhog. That was scary. Get out. Now he's in. There he goes. Hi, Reinhardt. Oh, this is so risky when we have res. I'm glad that you left him. He's gone. Get him up. You guys are actually holding really, dragons, holding really well for being down a player. There you go. Nice, Rev. Good job. I think you'd be making an even stronger case if your Reinhardt would stop just leaving. It was a good Earth Shatter. There was nobody there to really follow up with it, sadly. Scatter. That was really dangerous positioning for you. So try not to walk directly in front of the enemy team like that unless you can, like, just really Guardian Angel quickly across it, which you did, and you kind of hopped and skipped. I would have peeked back towards my spawn and flew to the two people that are right there, and then come around the back to heal Torp that way. There's your Reinhardt. Into oblivion again. Oh, Hanzo.
30 seconds.
Alright, you've almost got res.
Heroes never die. Thank you. We're together. We can do this.
He is lucky that he had Earth Shatter there, because otherwise he probably ended up picked again. That Reinhardt's giving me a headache. Good damage boost. Heals on Torb. Right now we're thinking about as fast as we can get res up. I probably would have actually saved. You solo resed earlier before overtime, and I probably would have saved because you were just down one, and they were down a couple. I probably would have just saved my res just in case they came back with something crazy. But the fact that you guys actually held that down a player is pretty impressive, and that was with your Reinhardt charging off into oblivion. The only thing I can think of that was an advantage to him doing that was the fact that the entire enemy team paused and turned around to deal with him, instead of just one person doing it, and it kept them off the payload a little bit longer. Okay, so overall, I really think that your biggest problem is you seem to not really know where to be as far as being Mercy goes, and positioning is so incredibly important to a Mercy player. It is how you stay alive. So I really would like it if you went into, say, quick play and really just worked on trying to figure out where you need to be on what maps to stay alive. Um, because a lot of what you were doing was kind of risky, and as you climb up in rank or you start going against players of a little bit higher rank, you start getting closer to diamond, they're going to punish you hard for that positioning. So it's better to just figure that positioning out now and figure out how to deal with it, and get around before you get to that level and lose a lot of SR simply because you're not in the right position. The rest of your mechanics were pretty good. You did use your Guardian Angel quite a bit, which I like. Abuse that ability. It is your lifeline. A lot of the times you did kind of fly out in between your team and an enemy team. And that's okay sometimes if somebody's on super critical and you've got to get over there really quickly. But when you're close to res or when you have res, you've got to think about safer ways to get to where you need to be. And a lot of the times it's just looking, okay, I need to fly straight across, but if I do, that's going to put me in front of their Roadhog or whatever, who could just hook you as you fly. It's pretty easy to hook Flying Mercy. So what if I look to my left and I fly back to my Hanzo or my Ana or whoever is back there, fly that way first, and then I can grab the person that I need to. It keeps me kind of behind my team, but still lets me get to the other side. Also remember that you can cancel Guardian Angel by just pressing the button again. How do I have mine set up? I think I have it on L1. So I'll just bump L1 again and stop Guardian Angel, which gives it starts the cooldown earlier, but it also means that you're not gonna fly out past the enemy team as often. Something else that I noticed that I think you really need to focus on doing a little bit more is pressing down that D-pad and taking a look at what ultimates your team has available to you, what might be coming up, and it also lets you keep an eye on the enemy team and see if they've changed anybody halfway through the game or something like that, so you have a little bit early warning for it. And I've said this before, but Mercy player's job is a lot more than just healing and rezzing. It's keeping track of your team's ultimates, the enemy ultimates, a lot of the times making call-outs and sometimes shot calling, telling people who they should be focusing right now. Just so the team has a little bit of organization. It's doing things like telling your Reinhardt, who keeps charging off into oblivion on the other end of the map and dying, hey man, we could really use you a little bit closer. Could you please try to make those charges a little bit shorter? That way I can support you better. And you might actually get a really good response out of that. It brings your team a little bit closer and you're not having to constantly stretch out and put yourself in unnecessary danger. But overall, the gameplay was not bad. The fact that you guys won down a player was impressive. That's hard to do. So that was really, really good. Other than the positioning and just kind of learning where you need to be and thinking about overall cover and where flankers are going to come from, res timing is something else that I want you to kind of think about. Pay attention to that kill feed. Figure out whether your team is up or down in a fight. Because sometimes a res isn't necessary, and sometimes you need to wait for those big reses, and sometimes you just need to solo res. Also work on figuring out your prioritization as far as resing goes. Tanks and healers tend to be priority. If your soldier has tac visor and he's getting ready to use it and he dies, solo res him. It's worth it. He has his ult. A Reinhardt with Earth Shatter is worth a solo res. Most of the time Reinhardts are worth solo reses, depending on whether or not you think the team is going to ult afterwards. And don't feel bad if you do solo res and then the enemy team ults, because a lot of the times what I've noticed is if I solo res and the enemy team ults, they tend to use at least 2 ults afterwards. So basically what they did was trade 2 ults for 1. You rezzed, you're going to get res back pretty quickly, probably faster than they'll get their ults back, so when you go in, your team should have ult advantage. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah, overall, not too bad. Just work on your positioning. I think that's the biggest thing. Once your positioning gets a little bit better and you feel more confident about where you should be standing, I think you'll watch your overall performance go up and kind of the rest of it will start to slowly fall into place. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments below, but hopefully this was helpful for you. Have a great day. Bye, guys.